Good morning, KELOLAND. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day. We have new information on a serious New Year's Eve crash. The South Dakota Highway Patrol is investigating a two-vehicle crash that left one person dead Saturday night. Authorities say a Saturn Vue and Subaru Forester collided at the intersection of South Dakota Highway 115 and U.S. Highway 18 in Lincoln County just after 10:30.
The driver of the Subaru, a 40-year-old woman, was pronounced dead at the scene. The 57-year-old male driver of the Saturn, who was not wearing a seatbelt, had to be extricated from the vehicle and airlifted to Sioux Falls. He did suffer life-threatening injuries. Authorities say charges are pending against him. Police are investigating an early Sunday morning shooting in central Sioux Falls. Officers responded to West 28th Street and South Lake Avenue, which is west of Augustana University campus, just after 2:30 a.m. Police say a 22-year-old man received multiple gunshot wounds to the chest. Police say the man was talking to officers at the scene before he was taken to the hospital.
Police are working on leads they hope will lead them to the shooter. We expect to learn more information about their investigation during Tuesday morning's police briefing, which you can watch live on KELOLAND.com. Well, police have arrested a suspect in connection with a deadly weekend rollover in Rapid City. The crash happened early Saturday morning near East North Street. Two passengers were also taken to the hospital with serious injuries.
Police arrested the driver, 20-year-old Nicholas Herman of Custer. He's facing several charges, including vehicular homicide, reckless driving, and DUI. Well, South Dakota joins 22 other states today where higher minimum wage laws take effect for 2023. More than a dozen states enacted tax cuts starting yesterday. Other new laws going into effect across the country impact personal liberties. Alabama becomes the 25th state to allow concealed handguns without a permit.
Meanwhile, in California, police will no longer be able to stop pedestrians from jaywalking unless they're in immediate danger of being hit by a vehicle.
Now let's turn to weather and the snow moving our way with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian.
Yes, indeed. Heavy snow at times in this forecast, and obviously, too, the conversation about some freezing rain. Let's take a look at the latest alerts map, and the large chunk of southern and southeastern KELOLAND, including all the way up to Watertown and Huron, is involved in a winter storm warning. The ice storm warning includes Sioux City, Spencer, Iowa. It also includes up to Sioux Center. We'll watch that carefully late this afternoon and tonight, as icing is also going to be part of this problem. But obviously, many of you are already focused on the hefty snow numbers that we are talking about. Here's a quick look at the hourly forecast, and we already have kind of a little spoke headed through Sioux Falls. I think we're picking up some snow off and on throughout the day. Don't rule out some even a little freezing rain in Sioux Falls. We're watching that. I do think that conversion to snow looks pretty likely this evening, and that's a fairly moderate to heavy band developing overnight from Pine Ridge to Winter to Sioux Falls. And we'll talk more about that on Futurecast in just a few minutes.
Thanks a lot, Brian. A group of local artists is teaming up to raise money and put food on kids' plates in the Sioux Falls School District. Heather Kane, owner of Siouxfu Creative Events, began the organization back in August with the goal of raising money for specific organizations. Every month, they pick a nonprofit and collect donations.
Now, this upcoming fundraiser will raffle off pieces from artists, with all the money going towards paying off student lunch debt with the Sioux Falls School District. Kane says there are more than 20 artists and businesses coming together for this cause.
The amount of response that I have had from the community is amazing. Skate City donated $300 worth of passes right off the bat, and it's only been uphill since then.
The fundraiser will be held at the Falls Overlook Cafe. It's January 21st from 11 to 5.
Well, as we turn the page from 2022 to 2023, Sioux Falls saw more people moving to town. However, that's been met with its challenges, according to Mayor Paul Tenhaken.
He says some of those challenges include housing, crime, workforce shortages, and inflation.
I think the message for 2023 should be one of optimism for our residents. I mean, we've weathered the past few years of highs and lows and pandemics and economy, inflation. I think we've weathered them pretty well. But 2023 is going to be an interesting year.
You can hear more of what Tenhaken had to say in this full story on KELOLAND.com.
Well, the first babies of 2023 have arrived. Over at Sanford Health, a baby girl was welcomed into the world at 12:26 Sunday morning.
Mom Carolyn Yost and Dad Jacob Week from Winter are excited to have their baby girl, Hazley Raylin, with them to start the new year. She is the couple's first baby.
Yeah, we've had a lot of visitors. A lot of nurses have come in to see her and everything because they're just so excited. But yes, I did not think that she'd be a New Year's baby. And of course, I didn't know what time it was when I had her at first. And then they're like, a bunch of nurses came in. They're like, I don't know if you've heard, she's the first 2023 baby. So they were all excited about that.
After 11 hours of labor, Yost said she was looking forward to a nap. Well, that's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at our weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens.
All right, our weather update today. Well, a lot of headlines out there. Winter storm warnings in the red. Basically, that's our starting point for, around 6 inches of snow or more. So that runs our route. Basically, rapids kind of on the northern edge of that. Southwest South Dakota, Hot Springs included, and then it runs all the way parallel to Interstate 90 through Chamberlain and comes all the way to Sioux Falls. It does include Watertown and Huron, although the northern edge of this is still a little bit debatable on how much of that goes up into Spink County, for example. But at this point, those are the headlines laid out. Northwest Iowa, ice storm. That's going to be a big problem, too. There's a swath of freezing rain involved here as well. Let's look at the hourly snow forecast. Again, I'm going to include some of this developing today. Official start time on the winter storm warning in Sioux Falls comes in after the midday hour. So that's where we start to see weather moving in, and it can be a potpourri of things, a little mixed freezing rain, if you will, a little bit of snow. I think the snow totals, though, through the day part are still fairly minor. We're not talking major snow here. Winter, by the end of the afternoon, I could entertain that area getting as much as 4 inches of snow. Sioux Falls, well, look at the numbers changing. We'll start here at 6 o'clock this evening. Mostly under an inch at that point, but then it goes fast. We start picking up any amount of thunder and lightning, and individual city totals will start to go up. And that's one reason why the Sioux Falls number pops a little higher there, because the computer model wants to throw out a little lightning at some point. Now, there is variability. Northwest Iowa, your snowfall rates won't be nearly as high because you're going to get more icing in that area. And we do think that the icing is still there going into tomorrow in northwestern Iowa. So that's our big problem that direction. Obviously, to the north and west, it's heavy snow, and these numbers, they grow even during the afternoon. So it's not out of the question to get 12 plus here. In fact, that's our going forecast, at least close to that level. I'll show that in just a second. I also want to visit about the wind. How much of this is going to be blown around? That's a big question. It's a very good question to bring up. Obviously, 20 to 30 mile an hour winds are not going to be friendly for areas like Sioux Falls. And I think that if it's not at blizzard levels, it's going to be very close. It'll be gusting to 40 at times, and with snowfall rates that we anticipate, it's going to be just about next to impossible to seeing in the countryside. Even in inner city travel, it's going to be very difficult due to a fast accumulation of heavy snowfall. So that's the story there. There's the 10 to 16 inch band. Who's involved with that? Well, Mitchell is, Yankton, Sioux Falls, big chunk of southwest Minnesota, large sections of south central South Dakota. Obviously, we'll continue to look at those numbers throughout the day today, but we feel pretty confident that that range will catch a lot of it. All right, 30 today, Mitchell, in your forecast, 23 in Pierre. How about the extended? Well, we'll take a break here after we get through today, tonight, and tomorrow. I think Wednesday this thing will idle down, and then after that, it's drying out and in the 20s toward the weekend. Aberdeen, same idea. I think Aberdeen at this point, safe to say you're going to miss the vast majority of this. You get some light snow chances the next 24 to 36 hours. Pierre also, by and large, not going to get a direct hit. Pierre's on the edge of a winter weather advisory. Rapid City, you're a little more in this talk. You're definitely in the winter storm warning, but again, you're not going to get the totals that Sioux Falls will get out of this particular storm. Check out more details online at KELOLAND.com.